What's up, guys? I'm Mike Claudio, owner of WinRate Consulting. I'm bringing you the top 5 mistakes home service companies make and how to avoid them. Let me give you a bonus mistake first. Don't make the mistake of not subscribing to this channel and liking this video. I'd love to engage with you. I want to hear from you. And if you're dealing with one of these things, comment below. I'd love to talk to you. I literally have an app on my phone, YouTube Studio, that gives me all the comments you guys leave so I can hear what's going on and give you guys some advice and connect you with people that can help you overcome these challenges. So I'm gonna jump right in. Number one, first mistake I see people do is hiring too fast. Hiring slow, firing fast is a term you guys have heard. I still want you to hire effectively and efficiently and quickly, but too fast. So how to avoid that? If you've ever hired the idiot that like in day 3 didn't work out, or that person that 3 months in just never really onboarded and got where you need them to be, there's a 3-step process I always follow or coach on following to help people avoid this. So first is have a really strong hurdle for people to have to get through at the beginning of the process. And I do this to see how badly is somebody willing to do the work to apply and work for my company. And you might say, well, Mike, it's hard enough to get people to apply. Making it harder is going to slow things down. You're right, but nothing is slower than every 3 months having to start over with somebody new. So a hurdle for you could be different based on position, but make it something in send an email, record a video, send your application, take this personality test, give them some behavior or activity they need to do before you're willing to interview them yourself and spend time with them. Nothing's worse than getting 27 applications and after doing 27 interviews. That is a giant waste of time. So the second step in the process after the hurdle is a 2-part interview process. First is virtual, second is in person. The virtual one is more about how do they show up? Are they organized? Are they disciplined? How is their personal hygiene? How sincere and seriously did they take the interview? Were they stationary? What were they wearing? And then keeping that first virtual interview as a 10 to 15 minute interview, hyper-focused on the values of that person, how it aligns with you. The second in person is where I want to get deeper into their existing skill sets. I will hire somebody with subpar skill sets and very high values. The vice versa of high skill sets, low values turns into a nightmare and absolutely turns into a dumpster fire for your company. Anybody who has hired somebody with high skill sets but poor values knows exactly what I'm talking about. The third part of the interview process is some form of test, a test day for a laborer or some form of homework assignment for somebody in what I might call a white collar position, office manager, salesperson, CFO, COO, CEO you might be hiring for your company. I want to give them some form of a test before officially bringing them on. And I get asked a lot, do I pay them for this? Yes, if they're coming into work for 5 hours in the warehouse, pay them a fair hourly rate for that. If they're coming in on a Saturday, pay them something. If it's a salesperson, you're asking them to come up with a marketing plan, no, right? It depends on the position, but overall, give them some form of a test. If they have passed the first hurdle before you give them any time, passed 2 rounds of interviews and executed the test effectively to your standards, you have reduced your approach, you've reduced your risk of hiring an idiot, but it's not a guarantee. There's no guarantees in interpersonal management and hiring. So understand it is not a fail-safe, foolproof process, but that process will severely limit your ability or your risk in hiring the wrong person, increase your ability of finding the right person for you. Which brings me to the second biggest mistake I see is firing too slow. If you went through that whole process and by week 2 they're still not living up to expectations, it is your duty to remove them and set them free from your company. Hiring too fast and firing too slow creates this massive opportunity for somebody to drag your business down, bleed your resources, and destroy your culture. It is not hard to do with the wrong person. So hiring slow, and then the second part, firing fast. So how to do that, how to effectively do that. There's 2 primary things I want to talk about in this video specifically. I've done a ton of leadership videos on my channel. Feel free to dive into those, but 2 things specifically. One is have a very, very detailed onboarding game plan and expectations. I call them 30, 60, 90s. 30, 60, 90s is a detailed explanation of what you expect from that person from an onboarding in the first 30 days, the first 60 days, the first 90 days. So think the first 12 weeks post-hiring. It's what you want them to focus on and the expectations of delivery on those things that they're focused on. So that could be skill sets, it could be applications, it could be processes, it could be anything related to the position, a broad spectrum of things that could be in a 30, 60, 90, but basically take everything you want them to own in their role and responsibilities, and then break it out into the first 90 days. What's most important for them to focus on through the more complex things that takes a few things to be in place. That shows you whether or not they're onboarding effectively. My rule of thumb here is I'm either giving you a raise at 90 days or I'm firing you. I have high expectations. I have for every position that I've hired for a very long time. If you meet my expectations, you are exceeding industry standards for that role from a delivery of value. So I'm going to give you a raise. If you are underperforming those standards, you won't survive in my machine, and I'm going to set you free to go find somewhere else for you to bring the skill sets that you have. Just because I fire you doesn't mean that you suck at life. It just means you are not at a high enough standard for my machine. So that 30, 60, 90 allows me to ramp their expectations and speed, allows them to understand their ramp expectations and speed, and at the 90-day mark, more often than not on my team or the businesses that I've run, people end up quitting because they know they're not living up to expectations because they were so clearly identified. But past the 90 days, anybody who's been in business for a while knows that you have high performers that start to slip off down the line. They were great for 6, 9, 12, maybe even 3 years. And then eventually they start to slip a little bit, or the expectations of role start to evolve, right? Your company gets bigger. Who was great for you at $1 million may not be great for you at $5 million in any type of position. So performance improvement plans, a PIP, is a process to help somebody continue to improve their performance to maintain evolution with your company. As the company gets better, the employees need to get better. And a performance improvement plan, it's a document that I have. If you want that document, comment below, shoot me an email, mike@winrateconsulting.com. I have a very simple template I can shoot you to make your own, but that template allows you to have a tool to say, hey, your performance is slipping. This is my gift to you to help you evolve your performance to maintain your employment at this company. Nothing's worse than firing somebody and them saying, hey, if I would have known my job was at risk, I would have tried harder. That pissed me off first time I heard it. It's like, you should try harder on your own, but I recognized that it was my weakness as a leader. I did not tell them the truth about their performance, did not give them an opportunity to evolve intentionally in the same direction as this. And I'll tell you, anybody who I have given performance improvement plans to, even if they end up losing their job, have thanked me for giving them so much truth, honesty, and the ability to get better. So the two things for firing too slow is a 30, 60, 90 and a performance improvement plan. Any help you need with those, let me know. I have a ton of templates and documents I can send you to help you implement that into your business starting immediately. So number three, biggest mistake I see with home service companies is managing the financial health of your company based on bank account balances. If there's money in the bank, you feel good and confident. If there isn't, you feel like a loser. That is a terrible way to manage the actual health of your business, because cash flow and cash balances are going to evolve. And believing you're okay because you have a bunch of money in the bank and believing you're failing because you don't very rarely tells the truth of the situation. It might tell you a snapshot of today, but I don't think it tells you a true snapshot of how you're evolving as a company. So there are three things. I want to talk about quickly on how to avoid that. First is learning to read P&Ls, balance sheets, and cash flow statements. P&L, balance sheets, cash flow statements. If you don't have a bookkeeper in place right now, if it's your mom or your aunt or your sister, please move on to a professional bookkeeping environment. They will deliver you the reports on a regular basis, depending on who you hire, different cadences there. But very, very important you understand those things. Second, I highly suggest operating on the profit first multi-bank account process. When you have one bank account, all money is in that account and it'll inflate how much cash you appear you have. Having profit buckets, tax buckets, payroll buckets, expense buckets shows you how much cash is actually yours and how much just hasn't been spent yet. A lot of times people think they're cash heavy because they pulled in some deposits, but they don't realize there's a bunch of orders coming through that they need to function to be able to pay, and they get lost in that constantly dealing with debt. So P&L, balance sheet, cash flow report. I suggest a profit first multi-bank account process to spread the money out to multiple accounts so you understand what money is allocated to what. And then third on this, and it could be simple to some, complex to others, but just general job costing. Understanding on each project, were we profitable or not? That can be done in most CRMs, it can be done in most construction project management tools. It can be done on a spreadsheet. We did a bathroom. Here's how much money came in, here's what went to the subs, or here's what went to labor, here's what we spent on material, what was left, what was your gross profit? And understanding that like if you're not hitting 40 to 50% at a minimum gross profit, you are going to struggle being able to invest in your company for growth. That's a separate video, I'm not gonna go deep into that right now, but understanding job costing, even as simple as a spreadsheet, and every time you spend money on a project, whether it's labor, hourly rate, material, subs, whatever goes into that spreadsheet, that will help you understand, was that job profitable? Because what most people don't understand is one project that is not profitable can take the profit from 4 to 5 projects. Good, bad, you're still broke because you lost so much money on that one that it consumed and cannibalized the profit on the others. Very, very important that you focus on that. Fourth, having inconsistent meetings. I've coached a lot of companies through creating consistent meetings, both as a company and by individual department. You cannot properly quantify the power of the compounding effect of consistently solving problems with your team week in and week out. So people they'll meet once and oh, we're just too busy, or they devalue the meetings, they're constantly rescheduling them. So there is not consistent conversation, and then little seeds of problems grow into big problems because they're just not caught early enough. So my suggestion right now, from a just simplicity of creating consistent meetings. First, I would highly suggest that you just put them on the calendar and make them a top priority, non-negotiable. Second, write out a meaningful agenda for each meeting. Whether it's sales, marketing, operations, production, finance, team, safety, there's a ton of different meetings that you can have. But a lot of times I see people, they're inconsistent because people lose the value in them because there's not a consistent agenda that is based around delivering value to all people in attendance. Included in that agenda should be who are the pertinent attendees to this. Having the operations manager in a marketing meeting, or having a sales manager in a production meeting, or having a finance manager in an operations meeting sometimes can appear as valuable, but if the majority of that agenda is not valuable to that person, they will devalue that meeting. So put them on the calendar, build an agenda, and make sure you have the right people in the meetings. That will create an environment where people are excited about the meetings as opposed to dreading them as a waste of time. Number 5, and maybe this is probably one of the most widespread issues I see, is people get too busy to do the things that got them busy. The sales, the marketing, the prospecting, the proposal creation, the customer visits, the calling people back, the answering the phone even. There's a season in everybody's business where you're slow and you're doing a whole bunch of work to get busy. Then you get busy producing that work that you sold and you stop doing the things that got you busy. Things like content, sales, marketing, prospecting, networking. You get so busy in the production side that you lose the activity on the sales and marketing side, and then you get so busy producing, your pipeline goes to shit, and then you start all over again. It's this constant ebb and flow of feast or famine. You will not be able to consistently grow or maintain cash flow and profitability and bank balances and employees if you are not consistently doing the things that got you busy. The first thing when's the right time to hire a salesperson? The right time to hire a salesperson is when you got too busy to do the things that got you busy. When you got too busy producing to do the sales and marketing activity, that is the right time because you built this pipeline, you built this process, you get busy producing, you got to backfill that activity or you end up falling off and your pipeline goes to crap, your cash flow goes to crap. And you're like, oh, I got no work next week. What do I do? Let me go hustle up some leads. Let me go hustle up some work. Let me go do those follow-ups on those proposals I sent out 60 days ago because I never was able to do that. I know somebody watching this is dealing with that right now. You have to decide whether or not you want to be on the sales or the production side. There is no right or wrong answer. If you are the sales guy, you like sales, hire a production guy. If you are the production guy and you hate selling, hire the sales guy. I promise you, this is a pivotal point when the trajectory of your business will change forever. So if you are too busy producing to do the things that got you busy, that is the right time to make a hire in your business. Look, these are just 5 of the biggest mistakes. It's not the only ones, but if you are hiring too fast, firing too slow, if you're managing your bank balances as the success of your business, if you're running inconsistent meetings and you stop doing the work that got you busy, I promise you, you implement these 5 things or you solve for these 5 things, your business will change forever. Don't try to solve all 5 at once. You likely don't have the time, energy, or knowledge to do all of that. So start with 1. Choose one right now and attack it. Please engage. Subscribe to the channel. Reach out to us. Shoot me an email, mike@winrateconsulting.com. Comment below and let us help you win fast and win often.